Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 170 of Kouryer podcast. Our today's guest is Ms. Nana Dhebuadze. She's a freelance concept artist based in Paris, France. And of course, as usual, in the captions, you can quickly check in the for contact section her ID of Instagram, so you can go ahead and check out her page, and also her art station as well. So if you want to see more portfolio pieces and like details of analysis of each work, you can also check that out as well. And with that out of the way, let's jump into the first question I ask everyone basically, which is give us a little introduction on how we got into the world of visual arts and design. Just wanted to become an artist. What happened that made you realize, oh, I want to become an artist,
Hey everyone. So thank you for the invite for the first time. For the idea to be a concept artist, I think was created in my mind like 7 years ago when I finished my academy, and I have diploma like an artist. So and after I started thought about what do next. After I find the way of the CGI, and I start to try to draw something on the tablet and to try to create some illustration. I think it started 7 years ago.
All right. And what were some of your favorite inspirations when it came to art? Basically, who are some of your favorite artists and designers that have really inspired you to, that their works actually inspired you? And also, were there any specific franchise that's really, got you hooked on, becoming an artist and a concept artist? Because concept artist is one of the most common first, love at first sight for actually a lot of artists, when they say concept art after favorite games or movies, So what were those inspirations for you?
I think for most of the concept artists is the same, Jim Jones, Jam Jarabayev as well. So Maciej Kuchara, I really liked work of Maciej Kuchara, and I remember that when I started, I have a subscription for the Learn Squared, and I saw a lot of the video who Maciej recorded. So, and I think I took a lot of the things for me from the different artists, from him, from his podcast. So it was great, and of course, and some of the traditional art as well inspired me a lot. But if we talk about CGI, I think Jim Jones probably is the most important figure in this for me. Was then.
All right. And were you originally studying art and design, or you were pursuing another career path? And as you said, of course, the seeds of becoming an artist got planted in you 7 years ago. So as you said, and I was wondering, did you had any other plans in life that you, for example, the whole cliche of the thing that, your parents or family or friends say, all right, don't go art, have art as a side, as a hobby, but go become an engineer or doctor or something, go have fun, go make money, and you can have art always. You hear this a lot, this type of cliche and story. How was it for you? Did you before even going to college, or I don't know if you went to college or not, but please do let us know what was your story at that point in time.
Of course, I have the same story, I think. But actually, my mother was a musician and my father was an artist as well. So I think they was not really agree with me for my choice, but they absolutely understand that because they are also artists. So for them, it was not a big problem, and they was not so really surprised about my choice. So they. Of course, try to say me something probably you need to think about this, you need to choose something more, to be a lawyer, I don't know, but no, I think I started drawing from the 9 year, and I really it was my hobby, for when I was a child. So I don't have any question about what do next. I started with this, and my father helped me, and he do some some drawing for me, and he helped me with some basic stuff. He learning me for the first time. So yeah, I think I don't have like a lot of the question about what choose and what do next. So it was like clearly for me then. Yeah.
All right. And what is of course, in the introduction, I mentioned that you're a freelance concept artist, but for now, I want to ask you, what is your main branch of design that you're focusing on? And tell us about your experience from the start of it until now. Like, is it like, are you a generalist, or are you working mainly on environments now, or character? So what is your specific, like, field of expertise right now?
Actually, no. For the freelance, when I started like to do the freelance, I think I deal with the different things like environment concept, character concept as well, like keyframe at the same time. Because for example, when I work in studio, so I basically have some special stuff like for the character concept, for example. But in the freelance, I always switch it with the different ways, because you don't have sometimes you like studios like have some different tasks for you. So like for me, it doesn't matter. I don't have like some preference for this. So I love like different approaches, but probably my favorite one, like it's more keyframe and environments, because I'm like I feel it's like it's more close for me, I think, and probably the last time I worked mostly on the environment, I think. So.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself for a second. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Kouryer Podcast, the not so professional art podcast. All right, so here's the thing. As I was trying to say when I was muted, is I also checked your art session as well. Yes, there's actually a lot of really well done pieces both in character and environment, and there's a nice variety of the balance of between both of these subjects in our portfolio. And I was just wondering, you might be surprised that I actually dig a lot in your works, and I found one of your actually earliest works titled Desert Battle. And I was just wondering, like, it seems that it's like a personal IP, right?
Yeah, right.
And I was wondering, like, are you still working on it, or could you, if you want to keep it a secret, it's fine. But if not, could you please tell us a little bit of a story about the settings and just what's going on?
You mean this one's personal work, or like?
Yes, it's called Desert Battle. It's personal project posted 3 years ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Actually, I already don't remember like my idea. Sorry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was too long, So okay. Yeah, I think I don't. Oh, okay, I get it. Where you find this? I think I tried. It was a really long time ago, and I tried to do with the like keyframes, and then actually I really was inspired by Jimmy Jones, so I watched a lot of his works, and I tried to create something like more with the paint approach. So like I really liked 3D but for some time I started like things that it's too like too technical process. So and I tried to do something like more painfully. So just like some tests for that time, because it was 3 years ago. So probably already like enough time, and I don't know. I need to create something new.
Yeah, I think it's really important to also do like personal IP projects at the same time as well, because hey, maybe yes, sure, maybe in a couple of years because it happens to most artists. I think when you do your personal work and a couple of years later you look back at it. It's usually rare when you actually are happy with your past works compared to your like current works, but in the case of maybe it it doesn't completely satisfy you, but you can find like, some aspects of, just concept design from it, from the past inspirations even. Because yeah, sure, maybe the story and the setting doesn't appeal to you, but for example, a gun or an outfit you designed for it, maybe you can use it later, So I think it's always, good to try to express yourself, on a personal level when it comes to works and projects as well, because you can't just be in a rigid structured body of like, doing client works and, studio works and all that. So, I mean, of course, it's just my personal opinion. Maybe someone will disagree with me in the comments, but what do you think about that?
So you mean like to use like some idea which you used before, like for the new project? Sorry, I did not really get what do you mean?
No, I mean the whole idea of like trying to use your old designs in your newer works. Like sometimes yes, sure, maybe when you do, for example, all right, let me make this example. For example, the piece I'm talking about, all right, there's this guy holding a gun to this blonde woman, all right. Maybe in the future, when you want to do a similar scene, you don't have to design everything from the zero. You can use some of this stuff from there. That's basically my whole idea, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's great. But like for me, I try to don't beg for some old things, because if I do something for my like personal portfolio, I try to create some new stuff and don't copy myself. Probably just for now, because I try to create like different ways, different approaches, and different like things. Like, so I need some, like for example, some character concept art. I have some keyframe, and I have some key environment stuff to show like my possibility for work to be open for like different work. Because like for me it's interesting like different ways. Don't like be just don't work just with one way, like just with a character, so that's why, yeah, it's probably a good one, so to sometimes to back and to work some things, to find some different way for like the previous idea. But for now, I don't use this approach, and I try to always create something new, like, and always, actually, I sometimes I realized that I had some problem before with the projects that, when you just started concept art, you always, orient for some other artist. But after some times, you started to be, when you like go deeply with your idea, and you realize that it's like it's really like basical approach. So, and you need to adding some like more good reference, like to have to big research for your work. And now it's just for example, I mean, like I did it before, so, and now I try to like before my work, and I try to find some like more reference and do like more deeply research before work. And so now I have like more different approaches. So that's why I don't use like my previous like some topics for the next work. So for me, it doesn't work now.
All right. And well, speaking of, that whole process, I was wondering, like, in general, how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new piece or a project? Like, what does the structure of your pipeline looks like? I mean, of course, you already, mentioned how you do your research and, for your pieces, but now I want the whole picture. How does it look?
If we talk about like key art or doesn't matter, I mean, like
no, it doesn't matter in general. Yeah.
So actually, it depends more on what I do. So like for the character concept, I have like a different approach, and for the environment. So basically for the key art or environment, I use mostly 3D. So first of all, when I have, if I do some personal work, so I do like some research before. If I have some brief from the studios, so I firstly I try to do some mood board for myself and try to find some reference, like some interesting design which will be suitable for this brief. So, and after I go with some sketches just for the mood and to try to find like a right way for this idea. And after, if it's like for me, like sometimes I could just drop this stage step and go to the 3D. But if I work with a studio, I always try to show it, like to be sure that I go in the right way. So after I go to 3D and do some basic stuff like stand with trying to find probably some stuff, 3D stuff, and if I don't have, I start to do some model for it. So, and after I have some like stand, basically it's like I work in Blender or in cinema. It's like really depends on what I do. So, and after I go switch to the Photoshop and trying to do some matte paint and like overpaint for this work. So basically it's like it looks like this. But if we talk about character concept art, so I don't use 3D for the character at all. So I just use some photos, and it really depends on the what I need to do. So sometimes I just used photos and a little overpaint. Sometimes I don't use photos at all. So it's a really, I try to not to have some special approach, and I always, go from the brief. I try to work with that mostly. So sometimes I need to create something new, like if I saw like that my approach doesn't work, so I try like different way for this.
All right. And well, here's an interesting question. What was the first art? What was the first paycheck you ever got out of art? What was it for? When was it? And how did you feel at the time when you got your, first commission, or, basically the best paycheck you made out of art, doing art?
You mean like on freelance or like
no, it could be anything, just in general.
So generally, my first job was I worked in a studio in Ukraine. So it was like a game art studio, and I find it just because I have like some friends who work in them, so they recommend me. So it was my first job. But if we talk about like freelance, I think when I started to push my art station, to push my portfolio, like some studios started like wrote me, and I think the first one I don't remember for sure, but I think like for the freelance it was Access Studio. So yeah, they wrote me and I do some work for them. I think when I leave studio, it was my first freelance job.
All right, awesome. And all right, now this is the segment of the podcast where we talk about some general stuff, and of course, thank you so much. That before the podcast, we already, by the way, for anyone who's listening, I always like discuss this stuff before the podcast, before we actually talk about them. And one of the things that actually came up that I want to just quickly go over, from someone who lived in Ukraine and kind of been through this whole thing of have to relocating from that country, as much as you're comfortable, and you were, felt, okay with it. Could you explain how was the situation and how's the situation is still going?
So like okay, actually what I say from my side. So I was in Ukraine, like I live Ukraine in my city. I live in Kharkiv, and I live on the 6th day. So it was pretty hard for them. So we were in the bomb shelter for the 6 days, and it was hard. And actually, I think a lot of the people don't believe that it could be so, like me as well. And I worked with the studio, and I remember that I woke up from the, and I heard like they start like bombing. So yeah, it was like really surrealistic, and I think I cannot believe for some moments that it's could possible. So yeah, it was pretty hard actually, and I think for the sixth day when we decided to leave city, and I didn't like take any things from me because like it was absolutely not important, and we don't have a sleep for like last 3 days. I don't remember actually, and yeah, and a lot of the people then already leave city, and it was a hard like decision, and I don't know actually what was right then, because like I think now it will be better for leave for the first time, for the first day, but actually then it was really hard to choose. You don't know what to choose, like what will be better. So yeah, but actually it's pretty hard. So it's probably I could say.
Yeah, even still till now.
Sorry.
Even till now, the situation hasn't gotten better.
Yeah, of course. I think like even for me, or like what do you mean? Sorry.
Like, in general, is it still on the front lines of the whole situation, or is it, reclaimed back by Ukraine? Kharkiv, your hometown?
Yes, still like pretty hard for the my city because they still bombing. So I think people in my friends and I also we don't have possibility to back. I think it's will be work for a long time. Like for me, I don't know actually. Probably no one know.
Yeah, and by the way, thank you so much for your courage to actually share this experience with us, because believe it or not, even two of the previous guests of that was on the podcast, where I had two guests from Ukraine as well that are now actually are still in UK, and one of them in Odessa, and one of them are I think in Kyiv, if I'm not mistaken. And it was so horrific because I don't know if you know him, Andy Art. He's an illustrator, Ukrainian illustrator, pretty cool dude. And he actually, used to share stories of, from his, because in his building, he could see his, building and office he used to work. And it was showing that, outside of it, it was like, it was getting bombed. And as you said, it still is, for a lot of people, they just trying to process that kind of information is super surreal. And sometimes it just doesn't work. Maybe after a couple of years, you can digest this type of trauma, mentally. But damn, I just hope, like, honestly, I don't know, things. And the thing that, is really stressing, because when you realize, that it's been going on for like more than 100 days and no like country or superpower tried to ally themselves. It was just economic sanction against Russia. It didn't hurt the government. It's just us, the Russian people, because right now I think a lot of a Russian artists that I know, they're now on the same boat as Iranians, because I'm Iranian, by the way. Like our governments aren't really the most liberal or democratic, basically, to put it that way, and there's so many economic sanctions on us because of the governments, but it's the people that suffer in the end, just the common average people. And yeah, by the way, sorry for anyone, I'm sure a lot of you didn't tune into, hear political stories and stuff, but I think it's still important, during this, conversations, to have this real life conversations as well, because, we never know, it could be our turn of this, bad events tomorrow, wherever you live. And I hope it doesn't happen, by the way, but it's a reality of, living this world. Who knew that, Afghanistan would be taken over like that, or even now Ukraine is in this situation. Like, whatever your country is, you don't know that if the whole world will be actually get united to get rid of that situation. And yeah, and the thing that really inspires me is because both of them are still, doing their art and doing their work. And yeah, I mean, that takes a different type of, courage and, spirit, honestly, to still, produce art in those situations. And, just my heart just goes to the people of Ukraine and just any place that's getting been brutalized by war. Like it's because my country as well, got brutalized for 8 years, like a couple of decades ago. So the taste is kind of fresh on our tongues as well, unfortunately. So yeah, thank you so much. Because here's the thing: a lot of people of my followers that's also ask me that if any Ukrainian artists that can explain to us the situation. So that was essentially the reason I wanted to bring up the situation. So thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Actually, I just want to add that, I think yes, like a lot of artists started to discuss it in Instagram on our station, and I think it's absolutely normal because like art. Artists always like describe what they see, so like it's okay for them, and I think it's absolutely like natural that all of the artists start to really reflect on the situation. So like for me, it's absolutely okay, and I don't know, probably yeah, I see as well that some people started to to be tired of the war, or to be it's like to be tired of all of this information. But I think it's like it's really hard to don't speak about that. And of course, like for my situation, I could say just it's really hard to describe. I don't want to back to these memorials. So like sometimes I just I could describe for a few things, and I don't want to go deeply with that. Sorry for that.
Yeah, sure, completely understandable. And well, now for anyone who's been tuning and listening to this by far, thank you so much. So we will go on a 2 to 3 minutes break, and we will be back. So stay tuned. It's because of the Zoom limits that we have to record segments separately. So stay tuned, stay safe, and we'll be right back. Great. And welcome back, everyone, to the continuation of our podcast, the rest of the questions and also our conversation, which the section we're going to talk about is actually the question section. I also put on my stories of the podcast page that if you have any questions, I could ask her. So actually someone put in a question. Parsa MGA asks, he asks in Farsi, but I'm going to translate his, question in English, all right? Basically, he's asking how, after our works actually get good to a certain level, how can we get exposure, for our works? And also he added like a nice emoji and words of encouragement for me, and says that dammit gern. I just told him that in Farsi. And yeah, so basically that was his question. What answer do you have for that?
Okay, sorry, I didn't get the idea of the question.
All right. So basically, after our works get to a certain level of actually gets good to a certain level, to a standard, after that, how can we get exposure? Like whether it be like on our session, Instagram, or just in art communities, just in general, how can we get exposure for our works?
Okay, so I think like the best is probably our session is the best platform for sharing your art, and I think of course it's a really actually important part of like you need to present yourself good, because it's in our work it's really important, like for me I think, because sometimes you see like a lot of the artists who do great, but sometimes they have some problem with the finding work. So it's really important to understand what you want to do, and to present yourself from the best side. So like for me, of course, I don't use a lot of the platform for this, like because it's take a lot of time, and I just probably use Instagram and our station. That's all. And like for me, it's absolutely enough. Some of the people I know that use some like website, like personal, but I think it's a good as well. But if you want to share, of course, like sharing with the people, so like our session will be best probably idea. Or like, Instagram as well works sometimes, because some of the people, some of the art directors, some of the like I don't know, some interesting people find sometimes you just in social media, just not on their station, because I see like some of the old artists who started like 11 years ago or like more, they don't use our station sometimes. So I think in this way, just when you have some level, when you have some work and you would like to share, so the best way will be like don't I think like anyone say what's the best way will be, like you could try to find someone, you could try to share it with the social media which you prefer, and of course it's sometimes it's a good one to find some artist, some art director probably, and try to connect with them as well. Like for work, I think it's a good one.
All right. And here's the thing, with our session, did you also agree that, um, I mean, of course, this is like I've heard different opinions on this, but a lot of, people ask me, if you're going to use art session as a portfolio, try to own, as if you're a junior and want to get into the industry, at most, post like 2 to 3 pieces. So when we're dealing with the subject of, sharing your artwork, I don't think you can really treat art session like Instagram, where we can, share everything, that you do. So it just has to be, high profile, things, your best works on it. So, when it comes to like connection, I mean, sometimes doing some random sketches, helps a lot. For example, on Twitter and Instagram. What do you think about that?
Of course, actually, it's a good question, because I think like sometimes artists sometimes just post, the good art in like big quality, but they don't want to post like some sketches, and it's a big problem, because they don't show like for the studios, for the art director who would like to hire them, for example, they don't show the process at all. But it's really important, I think, because I could understand like this position, because all those artists would like to share just like a good pictures, a big like a good quality pictures, but they don't want to share some like draft sketch, because it's like looks not so well. And actually, it's a big question for the like people who would like to hire them, because they don't see how this artist like will be in a work. I mean, sometimes like not really important to do like nice pictures, like a good picture. Sometimes it's like more important to hear the art director and to be a good in the process. I mean, with the sketches, with the researching idea. But a lot of the junior artists, they don't do this at all. And actually, I think it's big mistakes. It's absolutely okay to post sometimes just some work in progress, or you could post if you don't want to do like some post on the art station with some sketches and some not finished work. You could always like use for this like Instagram. It's okay to show some work in progress, and after, when you like will represent yourself for someone, for a studio, you could always like share your Instagram as well and show what you do, like, because in this case, like art director could see how you will be in the work. So like for me, it's really important. So
All right. And what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? I mean, of course, if it's a project that there's an NDA involved or a contract, I mean, I get it. We can skip right past this question if we can't talk about it. But if that's not the case, what do you have going on right now?
I think I couldn't share like what exactly I do, but actually I just could say on what with whom I work. So I mostly work for the Iron Sims now, and my last project, I think, also was for the Ubisoft. So I think it just that I could share for now. I don't get, I can't like share it more deeply and say on which project I work. So
Sure, no worries at all.
my personal stuff, actually I don't work at all for now. I started from the start of this year. Some my personal stuff, but for now I still, I need some times to, to adapt for the new place. So like it takes all of some time. So for now I don't work on my personal stuff at all. I don't have time for this, and I don't have like some energy. But I think, and I plan to back like as soon as possible.
All right, awesome. And all right, let's like take some distance off from all this, like, art questions, and technical stuff. And I want to ask something personal. All right. What area beside the area you're working on right now, which is of course art and design and all of that, would you be interested to explore and learn in the future? Like, basically besides art, what are aspirations and ambitions you have, in life? What other things you want to do, basically besides art?
It's a good question because I always try to find something for myself. I mean, some hobbies or something like that. But all of my hobbies started uh, uh, to go again for the art, and I think I don't know, actually, absolutely have no idea, because in my when I have some free time, I always do some art. But actually, basically, I tried to switch on traditional more, because like for me it was a big part of my life for a long period, because for I like drawing from the, I think from the 13, or I don't remember exactly. And when I have some free time, I switch it just on some drawings. I really love to draw from the some natural or some stuff, like just with the like pencils, or some like oil. Um, so like for me, it's a good switch, but probably it's like not so best switch, because it's the same things like art as well, but it's more like give you some freedom, and because you don't need to think about like what exactly you need to do to be to be sure that you're good with your brief or something like that. So like for me it gives some like um, uh, freedom, and you could relax just with traditional art. So like for me it's the best idea. So also in free time, I love play chess. So probably that's all for now.
All right, awesome. And it's actually, now that you mentioned just that, actually, I want to also mention something interesting. I think but by the way, as well, that Georgia, although that it is a very relatively small country with it's not like like Germany or US, that those or Russia even, those countries are like super into chess, but also have like high population. But Georgia is actually an interesting case because per capita, I think it has more grandmasters than a lot of places. I think, especially like I think women GMs, women grandmasters in chess. Which is actually that's actually interesting. And actually, I told you before we started the podcast, the other Georgian guest I had, the last Georgian guest, I forgot her name. I'm sorry. She also said that her mom was also a chess GM as well. So that was a kind of something that just popped into my mind here. And yeah, that's really fun. And all right, have you been also enjoying the chess boom like 2 years ago that happened all over the world with the like Queen's Gambit and the Twitch, basically chess took over, and stuff like that?
Yeah, I saw actually. No, actually, my father learned with me play chess, so I never like went to some classes for the chess, so it was not so professional. But so I think I just played from the 15 or 16, and so I'm amateur. I'm not like professional player.
All right. I mean, but still, you don't have to be professional to enjoy it, But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and all right, I'm just gonna throw in a chess question, what's your favorite gambit?
No, actually, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like exactly the name of the, like.
All right, what's your favorite opening on white?
Okay. No, I don't. I have no idea actually for now. I
The
said
answer
like
is
no,
E4. There's
I'm too I'm too amateur, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, usually, my favorite opening is E4. Like it's the most thing I'm comfortable with. But the thing with chess is like, you have to always study the openings and the counter openings and so it's for anyone who's listening. I honestly, I know I'm geeking out a little bit about chess and sorry about that, but I really recommend people to give it actually give it a shot. Try to learn it as a skill. Go make your a late chess account or chess.com and challenge yourself. I think it's good to not grow your mentally one-dimensionally. It regardless of what your field of expertise is. It's always good to learn new stuff that is different from your the thing you're comfortable with. And yeah, chess is a great thing. It gets fun after you learn the openings. Actually, you can make sense of moves, so you're not just pushing pieces like don't know what's going on. But yeah. And with that out of the way, we've reached the final question and section of the podcast, which is called Final Words. All right, let me explain what that means. Let me explain it in this scenario. Imagine you had a limited amount of time, and in that limited amount of time, you could say anything, just anything from your side, from Nana to anyone who is listening to this episode of podcast in the future, at any point in future. It could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, who knows, maybe 100 years. And basically to anyone who might come upon this podcast, this episode 170, and are listening to this at this point, what do you have to say to them?
For the as an artist, you mean like, or the
No, as a human, not just art, just in general.
in general? Okay, it's a good question. I don't know, like so. I think if we talk about like, I need some rules, like let's say something for the artist, for example.
Sure, no worries at all.
So, like for me, I remember some like big pain in my life that I always think that to be artist is something like that you can it's gonna be like your work, and I think for a long time I didn't believe for that, and like so I heard a lot of this from some friends, from the people who was around me, and sometimes from my family. And I think it's really important if it's like if you love art, if you want to drawing, it's really important to do that. Like I don't listen to anyone, and if you really like it, because like for me, for example, it's a big part of my life, and I cannot imagine before what I could do, like something like some other things. So I could say for the artist, if like they have doubt and they're not sure that it's like the best idea, the best way for the like earn money, or like I don't know, like to do for the long time, I think they should know that it's absolutely possible. And when you put a lot of the energy and you put some your part of your heart for this, it always should work. So like you just need to try and try again, like. So for the artist, I think it's probably that I could say, that if you like it, so try again.
All right. And actually, I'm going to be honest, your answer kind of warmed my heart a bit. That was such a wholesome answer, honestly. And yeah, it's true. Like, at first you said, I don't have anything to say, as a human, but, as an artist, but still your answer is really, I think, a good advice, regardless of, whether it's about art or something else. Because that's actually something really important. Like that's actually, people need perspective in their lives. Like, because a lot of times, me, you, anyone who's listening to this podcast, they come to a certain plateaus, like mental plateaus, like when it comes to, what to do next in their lives. And it's like analogies and examples like, these are super helpful to help us, kind of solve that equation and situation. Like, if you want to know if art is for you or not, do this. If it's something that you would do even though it wouldn't be your future career, then art is for you. What I mean by that is, sure, maybe like, situations are different. Maybe someone's born in a situation that, because of for example, financial reasons, they can't necessarily pursue art or tutorials or even maybe Wi-Fi. Like, I'm just going at the bare minimum here, all right? And they have to do some other work. They have to, all right? But it's still, if you are an artist at heart, you still do, on your side, on your spare time, you do art. Maybe it's sculptures, maybe it's diorama, maybe it's painting, maybe it's just could be anything. Maybe you pirated Photoshop and are just, drawing digital art. And you know what? I might, get flagged in the future if I want to one day get sponsors for this podcast. But yeah, I mean, I think, in my opinion, if you're living in a third world country, go ahead and pirate anything you want. I don't care. And if you're doing it even in your spare time and you're not even making money out of it, that means you're passionate about it.
Yeah, of course. But actually, it's really important to take money on this as well. Because
sure.
But I mean, like, why I say this, I mean, like, I heard a lot of the story when someone, say something for the artist, and after they, decided to switch and to do something else, because it's for artists, I think it's always really, they touch about that, and sometimes they listen a lot what people say around them, because I heard a lot of the story, and I heard a lot of from my side, and I also have had a lot of the doubt, about that. And first time when I just started, I thought about it's not my, I need to switch. It's like not a good idea, and I heard a lot of this when I think, because for a long time I really love to, and I dream about to work on the film. In the film industry, and but I hear a lot of the stories like, you never like find some kind of job, and so yeah. But actually, when you have some idea and when you really want to do this, it's you put all of your energy on this, and it should work, So that's why I think it's really important to don't drop at just because someone say some stupid things. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And well, I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much for coming by. I genuinely appreciate your the energy and time you put in for this episode. Thanks so much. And thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. I hope you really enjoyed this one as well, same as me. And as always, if there's any suggestions or critiques or comments or anything, just leave them down in the comments down below, whether on Castbox, YouTube, just, any platform, you can just shoot me a DM on Instagram. And that's about it. Take care, everyone. Till next episode. See ya. Bye.
See you.